Okay, first of all, I want to say that there are spiritual workers of different belief systems who were very pissed off and very angry with me, much earlier on in my spiritual journey. Whether it's Christian, prophetic pastors, psychics, you know, whatever. And I had no fucking idea why. I'm like, what's their problem? You know, and that hasn't really changed. It's kind of intensified over time. And this whole thing people talk about with the spiritual war intensifying and only sticking with your own, that's a very real thing. They're not making that shit up. And sometimes they'll just brazenly say what they're trying to do to you in front of you, especially when they know that everybody around them is going to support what they're doing and blame you and kind of twist paperwork and policies, whatever, to make it look like you were the problem. Well, they're basically just mobbing the shit out of you socially, financially, or whatever way. But I digress. So anyway, in this video I wanted to talk about why you tend to see like the ancestors of a man after you've had sex with him. Like, where if you're with a black guy, you're seeing random black people who you've never met before. You're a white guy, you're seeing random white people who you've never met before. If he's Native American or one of the more Indian mixed instead of heavily white mixed, Latinos. Maybe you're seeing Native American people you ain't never seen before and having these weird dreams about lost buried cities in South America and shit. Well, I was watching a video of, again, a spiritual worker who really, I'm pretty sure she don't approve of my ass. But I was looking at one of her tutorials online, and she was saying that when you have sex with a man, not only does he deplete you a little bit energetically if he's the wrong person, but the spirits of his ancestors tend to surround you because there's an energetic exchange. So, like, when you have sex with him, what you're seeing is his ancestors more so and not your own. What I kind of suspect, just from, experience in picking up on a few little tiny things, what I suspect is that when you have black and brown men and they've had a lot of sex with women of other races, with a lot of women who are not black or not brown or not their race, then what happens, what I suspect has been happening, and I never suspected it until after I watched that tutorial I saw today. Because when a spirit said it to me at first, I wasn't sure. I was like, really? Is this guy really surrounded by the ancestors of all the women he had sex with? And then I saw the video today, and then I'm like, oh, it might be true. So I'm thinking maybe it might happen to men too, where they become really distorted mentally because they've been having sex with different women, or they're still having sex with all of their exes, and then they get surrounded by the ancestors of all those different women who they had sex with in the past, and maybe who they're still having sex with even when they're in relationships with other people. So that might be part of what keeps men so just mentally gone over a woman who's doing magic to keep him, and she's really not a good influence in his life, but still always steady going back. And it might be because it's her ancestors. Or maybe he might be a black guy or a darker skinned Hispanic or Native American guy who really does not feel that a woman is attractive if she looks more like Indians, pure blood Indians or pure blood Africans who has a wider nose or darker skin. If he feels that's extremely unattractive and he's just totally gone in that direction, if he thinks children who are pure blood Indian with darker skin or pure blood Indian with a wider nose is ugly, maybe he's so mentally gone because of all the sex with people of other races surrounding him and surrounding his bloodline, especially if his father and, when his parents been doing that too. Same thing with black men. Maybe he might, if he thinks black people who have a wider nose or darker skin or kinky hair is ugly, it might be from the spirits of other black people who don't have a wider nose or who don't have kinky hair, who don't have darker skin. Their ancestors surrounding him through the sex, or he's been having sex with women of other races and her ancestors surround him and his mind just gone. Especially if she's doing rituals on him on top of that, because she could be doing all kinds of rituals trying to keep him and run around hollering about praise Jesus. And I've seen this. In the last 10 years, I've only had opportunities to be involved with like maybe 5 or 6 black men, and with at least 3 or 4 of those guys, that was the case, where he was surrounded by the ancestors of all these different women he'd been having sex with, because the sex connected him to the ancestors of those females. The sex connected him to the karmas of those females, and on top of that, with them doing the black magic and then pretending to be a light worker or pretending to be a Christian, whatever, and then boom, dude's mentally gone. And when he's mentally gone like that, he might just use you for sex and kick you out the house and trash your name. Sit you out on the side of the road pregnant and trash your name and try to make everybody think you the scum of the earth.